one or two people here, you can just tell them that you need this time, which is also not. But anyway, it's better than writing a formal letter to their people, putting a duress on them to give you, how do I say, a timely decision. Because the reason why it's not done anywhere is simple. Someone can challenge that. We put a pressure on the court to bring out a verdict. It means they can challenge the verdict. Okay? So that's why it's not done anywhere to put a duress on the court to bring out a verdict. So it's as simple as that. And second, we don't have any jurisdiction on them, so we can't force them to
Before we continue, observers are allowed to make, I got a message on my table from one Mr. Nelson. Observers are allowed to make inputs, but only after the members of parliament are done. And if you, as an observer, you want to bring a motion, you would need the validation of at least 5 members of parliament before the motion is taken into consideration. Okay, thank you. So moving on, Honorable Ejari.
In 2020, when the NDC petitioned the Supreme Court, there were some mistakes in it, so they went for it and they have to correct it. He who wants to eat with the adults needs to learn how to wash his hands. So if they send a petition to the court and the court deems that it is not fit and needs to do correction, it doesn't mean that the court is not doing anything. It doesn't mean the court, that's what the court is doing, because if they are breaking it, they will keep their document and it can be referred at any point in time. And it should have to standard because you want to eat with adults. So that is one. 2, the court is not saying we can't go on with anything. They say we should go on declaration of the results. It's not saying that SRC cannot do any other thing. So we should know how to interpret what the court is saying. So please, if the court says we can't hold any election, then we can write to them that we want to academic semester is about ending. So we want to hold an election, or we want to hold an election. Then we can write to them, we now want to ask the Chief Justice say, contempt my all the answer. So the court is not saying we can't do anything. So we should stop misinterpreting the thing as the court is saying we can't do anything at all. And 2, electing an EC does not mean that tomorrow we are organizing an election. It's a process. We need an EC to bring a CI to open nomination, and in the 7 weeks, 7 weeks is the last week in July, if I'm counting it for, or in the first week in August. We have all this time still waiting for their people to bring it. They are ready. So it's not like when we elect an EC today, everything that happened in the old is gone. No, it's a process. So we should put that also in context when we are discussing the issue on board. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Ejari. Honorable Sadari.
My question is for Honorable. It's a very simple question. From your presentation, you made clear that you made a mistake. And during back when the black sheriffs, put that you have never made a mistake. Yeah, and when we make mistakes, we put our, like, the consequence of the mistake. So when the case is in favor of Honorable Rudolph favor, and you maybe try to see the EC, or and maybe there is a fine that you are supposed to pay. Is it the SRC who is going to pay the fine, or you that admitted that you made the mistake going to pay that?
All right. Thank you so much. Can I make my submission?
Yes.
Please? All right.
Sorry, Honorable Wait.
Madam Chair of the House. Okay, so I'd like to make a contribution. So first of all, there were valid assertions made by my fellow members of Parliament. But I also like to point out that a lot of those assertions or comments were also hypothetical. So I would like to say that as the legal advisor suggested, we needed the documents that were submitted or copies of those documents so that we know exactly what we are going against. Because right now, they are just words of mouth. If we are taking them at their best, that is it. It may be the case that some things may be in the mix. So if we have the documents, then we can go ahead and make the decision as a house to go with the process. And as the legal advisor also said, the appointment or selection of EC, it's a process. Even if we put these individuals in place, they are going to now follow the due process and give us the subsequent leaders of the SRC, which will now take the mantle for the next academic year. So until this is over, they are not going to be in action or to take their process. So I believe that the best thing we have to do is to have a look at the documents that were presented. Then we can now go ahead and say, yes, we are accepting this, so that we don't do anything that will be in contempt of the school's appeals board, so that we know that whatever action that we are taking, we are in the right, so that next, in the near future, will not be like brought back where we'll be hearing other calls, will now be stressed with the process. But aside that, I think we can still go ahead with what we have on the other paper to date, even though, so that we can have these individuals appointed, but they may not have the mandate to start operating, maybe until we have that tool to know that these individuals are in the clear to give them the mandate to go ahead. I believe we are following. So that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Fadil, sorry, I've not seen it.
The Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
All right, so, Madam Speaker, as an addendum or a supplement to what our Honorable Scholarship Committee chairperson said, even though we don't want to commit any mistake as an SRC, but as an SRC, we found ourselves in a situation where one way or the other, our actions are being affected by the decisions of the appeal board, one way or the other. So to prevent us from this going forth and backwards and all that, and our EC he has been engaging the appeals board. And when we say the issue that may involve the SRC, we involve only the EC. One way or the other, the EC is part of the SRC, just that it's not so direct. And he has been the one engaging the appeals board. And today he's telling us that he's giving us updates on what is happening at the appeals board. And he's telling us that the occurrences of things happening now, he would ask us or he would appeal us as a house to be cautious or be not haste to go. He's giving for some time actually. So as a house, I think we can show him and go send the appeal board or let the appeal board know that this is the decision that the house wants to take. Per the constitution, the time is up for us to open on this to let ECs and all that. And as a house, we want to proceed with it and take this action. So any action that we are taking, it will be like the appeals board knows what we are doing. And the thing that we will get to a point where they will come and tell us that no, we should go back again because it's against or it's an infraction of the constitution or something. So I think as a house, we can through the EC make the appeal board know that this is the decision that we want to take. We want to appoint new EC. And we can proceed because we've appointed committee chairpersons and inducted them through Zoom meetings and all that. So I don't think there's something that in the next 2 weeks or in the 3 weeks ahead we can do. So we shouldn't be in a haste to take a decision that may try to bring us back to square one again. Right, so I think that's my little suggestion I want to make.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Ejari.
Please go back to what our Honorable said. Our Deputy Speaker said. Documentation is important. Right now, if I tell Honorable something, and he tells Honorable Koshia the same thing, before it gets to Speaker, it has been ordered. That's why we have documentation. So why not, as the EC said, giving us, we should have actually need to give us the benefit of the application of stay. Because when you call the chairperson of our people to communicate, he might say something which might be a little different from what he's saying. That's why documentation is what? Important. So right now, as we are talking, we have ASI. where are the documentation? Because he's giving us a report. And if our documentation, we have our lordship here. He can go through it and give us interpretation of it. But now it's by man. And there are no documents of it. And they are asking us to consider word by man to make a decision, which the Constitution is asking us to do. So it says we don't have documents backing what he's saying by word of man. We can't make assumptions or make decisions based on that. So until he makes provision for it, I think the SRC is not going against the Constitution. Because even an appeal board, they still use the SRC Constitution in conjunction with other constitutions to make rules. So what we are electing an EC,
If you are,
it's not against our Constitution. So he has to furnish us with a report for us to see that whatever they are doing is against it. And I think he has the document already. It's not now that he's going to ask for them for it. So he should furnish us with it for us to do.
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Tansen.
Yes, so I agree with your advice. I also agree with what Honorable Madam said. In the sense that I don't think we are being stringent when it comes to what we are or future occurrences, because
This
like the chief justice said, every body in terms of the SRC has its own jurisdiction. The SRC court or the SRC's jurisdiction is not higher than the University Management or the University Management jurisdiction. So it could be, that's why we are all playing scenarios here. It could be that we can continue with the appointment. Then somebody picks up an issue and sues us or writes a petition, and then they can mandate or force the university management to put a hold to whatever we are doing here. Because like our chief justice said, that their jurisdiction is high. So I believe what we are trying to see is that we should be cautious in whatever step we take. Because we can write a petition, another person can write a petition. And once the university management puts an injunction on whatever we don't have a say in it. They can say that today we've appointed an EC and they can annul it. And we will not have a say about it. So I think I agree with Honorable Farouk saying that we should be cautious. And then the best is we can write to them that this is what we want to do. And then they can write back to us, go ahead. Then that one, we know that whatever the case, where we are free to go. Thank you.
His Excellency Sam.
The Speaker of the House. I believe the subject of discussion is on whether we should go on with what is on the other paper. For time's sake, the CJ has made it clear that we can go on and before the future of the Constitution. And when there is an appeal or anything, yes, we are making a decision. We will deal with it when we get the process. So now the subject of discussion is, can we go on? Is it in the confinement of jurisdiction? Like, can we go on as a house? Yes, we can. So when we get there, and we can't speculate that for the fear of the fact that maybe there will be a petition or there will be a motion somewhere or there will be called to do, so we can't do or we won't do what we are supposed to do. Yes, we are going to do it. When we all decide we should do it, we will do it. Now, when there is a need or any other matter arises, we deal with it. And life goes on. So please, let's speak to time so that
Okay, thank you very much, His Excellency. Okay, Honorable Fadil.
So, the Speaker of the House, so considering all the inputs, the last thing that I want to seek for clarification on is has to do with the election of appointment of new executive members, new electoral commission members. You see, in the previous administration, all the members of the previous administration, their tenure ended when the administration handed over. And all of what it meant is that all the people, all the leadership in that, they had finished their job. But EC is not done with his job. If today we are saying we are appointing a new electoral commission, and he is not done with his job, are we saying that he has ended his job and we are appointing new one, or we are firing him and we are giving new appointment to people? Because we have to know the way forward. So if today we are firing him as an EC, then fine, we can fire him, then we give new appointment to people. I think that's.
Please take your question again. Please take your question.
Okay, what I'm saying is that, you see, all the committee chairpersons and all that in the previous administration, the federal president and the secretaries and the senators, all of them ended their administration when the previous administration handed over. But the EC is not done conducting the election that has to do with the presidency, which is still in the process, which there is still contention over. So if today we want to, the EC is not done with his job, so he can't hand over. So the only way that we can do a new appointment is to fire this EC. They give new appointment to the incoming one, because this current EC did not finish the job that we asked him to do in the previous administration. So it's not done. So the only way we can give to other people to take over as EC is we should fire him. If that's what you are saying.
Okay, so while we wait for our CJ, Honorable Gertrude.
I have it as on Monday. That is, yes, Monday. Oh, latest tomorrow, God willing. The when you want is as in the time today, or when?
So
because
can we go ahead without the document?
No, I think, can I come in, please? For the documentation is very significant. It's a key. If without the documentation, maybe yes. Interpretations of what I'm saying may not be the best. So yes, I have to bring the document.
Yes.
Yes.
Honorable Ejari.
Honorable Fadil made a statement. And when you read the SRC Constitution, chapter 6,
Can I excuse?
Article 40, Article 41, Article 41 clause 2, the Electoral Commissioner and the 2 deputies shall be appointed by the SRC Parliament after a vetting conducted by a 7-member committee set up by the SRC Parliament, which vetting shall be held in the presence of, but without the participation of the SRC Parliament, at the second sitting of the same. I'm asking the House, what is our sitting? So if you're talking about it doesn't hold, this is our first sitting. That means this has been done a long time ago. So it's not about sacking him or firing him. The thing is, so far as a new house comes on board, at their second meeting, whether you were able to perform elections or not, your time has come to an end. It is stated. So if you are living past the second, so you are letting our fault. So you are supposed to have done this work a long time ago. And someone can sue us based on this. So it's not that you are firing him. The constitution has made it so that on the assumption of a new house, we have to elect an EC. And this is our fault. We passed it.
Okay, thank you.
So let me make some clarification. I'm going to make a lot of comparisons so it becomes simple for us. So after 4 years, when Akufo-Addo has not been able to serve well as a president that we want him to do, it doesn't mean that we say let him be in power and let him continue being in power until we are okay and satisfied that Akufo-Addo is the president that we want, and then we can decide to go a new election to elect a president. The analogy is simple. the EC is supposed to serve for a tenure of office. So whether he's able to conduct a full election or not, he's supposed to hand over to a new EC that is supposed to conduct elections for a new administration. It is very simple. So the basis of ending the tenure of office is not whether or not you were able to fulfill your duties as the EC. It is that your tenure of office has ended and a new EC has to be formed. So whether there is a stay on execution on the election that is organized, it doesn't stop us from forming a new EC to ensure that we get the continuity of the SRC. We all get it. Like we get it. So the thing is that he has done his job to a certain extent. And there's an injunction on that job that he's supposed to finish. It doesn't stop us from saying that your tenure of office ended and we have to set up a new EC to start a new electoral process. We all get it. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Honorable Wait.
Please, I believe we can all bear that this situation when it comes to the presidential election is one without precedent. It has not happened to us before, so we don't know how to handle it based on past events. So, if according to what has been brought up right now, that based on the appointment of the people, so are we going to say that because the constitution says this, we can go ahead? And in that case, are we going to absolve the current EC, or yes, let me say the current EC, of any responsibility regarding the organization of this presidential election? So I believe we should also consider this before we make any decision. Also, this has been brought to light right now. That's what I would like us to also take into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. His Excellency Hagan. Okay. Honorable Anna.
I think I have just one question to ask. My question is, right now, if we are to appoint a new EC, and then the case is still in court as it stands now. So if they call the EC to respond to anything, who represents the EC and handle it? And then, Honorable, the two is going to sit on that case or the new EC who is coming, so that I get something together. That's what I
Okay. So, please, let's keep quiet and listen to His Lordship.
I agree with that, but let me react. Let's make this simple. So, for example, if right now anyone decides to appeal the election petition in 2016, right, and we call the EC, the current EC is going to represent. But if the court specifically needs that former EC, so for example, we need Afarijan or something, because there is something pertaining to him that only him can answer, the court can summon him to come to court and they get that thing that they want from him. But if the respondent was the Electoral Commission at that time, that is who that, and like he was a respondent as a person, then it means that even if we get a new EC, he is still the respondent of that case until the respondent of that case is changed. We all get it. So if the office was sued, like if the respondent of the case was the office, so the Electoral Commission of the SRC, it means that you can still have a new EC that is going to represent at that place because it's a continuity. But when we need you guys to answer specific questions, the court is going to sue you to come and answer. But if you was sued as the Electoral Commissioner, you bet this in the document, like his name in the document, as the respondent, as the sole respondent, as an individual, then it means that even if we have a new EC, he's still the respondent of that case. We all get it.
A follow-up. Okay.
So that's why.
Sorry, please, it's not.
That's why sometimes when you send a case to court, and they ask you if you want to sue the office or you want to sue the individual. And I think that's part of some of the changes they have to do as this was like, because sometimes you want to sue the office, but then you bring the individual and then you tell you to change it to the office. So all those technicalities are important.
Okay, thank you.
I think my follow-up question would be, if we appoint the new EC, indirectly, are we trying to say we are removing the current of all duties associated with this particular case? Because once you break in, and then they call for the electoral commission, which his name is not there, it means he's not so binded to going to represent or going to say this is not the case. So are we saying that we are relieving him of all his duties associated with this particular commission? Because when new EC comes, it will be his responsibility to represent him. Unless, of course, they invite maybe Mr. Bigger to come specifically to answer to certain questions. That was really to say like that.
So, yeah, I think that was basically what the Chief Justice was saying. If we elect a new EC today, the new EC takes up as a continuum. Right now, we don't know if we don't know the details of the case at the appeals court. So, if the court needs Mr. Hubert Bate, the court will sue Mr. Hubert Bate to come and answer per what our Chief Justice just informed us. Please, do you have any other thing which hasn't been said already that you want to say? Please, if you start and I feel it's a repetition, I will have to halt you. Please. Okay, pardon? Okay. Jesus.
I think this is the idea of the house, that because there has not been a proper documentation of whatever thing is happening, means that the continuity of the EC becomes something that's in question. So for example, when he leaves and the new EC doesn't get the documents needed to ensure the continuity of representation at the appeals court, comes to the court. So if that is your question, like if that is your
I don't know who wrote the motion.
the house can that the EC provide necessary documents like that's simple and also the fact that the former doesn't take that how do I say it, spatial responsibility. That within that space of time, that spatial responsibility that he has is still on him. So if anything goes wrong within that time, you can still refer and look for advice. So for example, if there's someone wants to petition anything about what happened during Yogi's time of office, I can contact Yogi and ask him that this and this and this and this is what is on my table. What did you do at this and this and this and this time? What is about this and this and this? So it's a continuity, and you can contact the people that hand it over to you, because realistically speaking, you can't hand over every single thing to you. You might need clarifications from them at any point in time. So you don't see how the new EC representing at the appeal board becomes how do I say it? A new thing. Okay. So if our problem is that documentation is not enough, I will recommend to the house to tax the EC to bring every documentation.
Okay, there's a motion, so let me read the motion. Okay. So, honorable members, there's a motion before us from Honorable Fadil, the local news president from Ho, seconded by Honorable Enam Hohoi, local news president. So, as a procedural motion, I write to subject order 7 to voting, which is the appointment, setting up of the new electoral commission to voting. So, honorable members would have to vote on this first. So, the question is, are we going ahead to set up a new electoral commission? Comfort. Should the voting be done voice voting, or do you think we should do raising of hands? No, let's do voice vote. Okay, so there's someone in uses the same laptop which has I don't know. Okay, so as I was reading, there is a procedural motion, and the person wrote to subject order 7, which is the setting up of the new electoral commission, to a vote. So the question is, are we going to set up this new electoral commission? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All against, say nay. The ayes have it. So we'll proceed to set up the new EC. So before we move on, we have in our midst our Dean of Seats, His Excellency Adom.
Speaker, something is happening here that I'm not happy with.
Okay.
I'm not happy with at all. Let's go to motion. Let's take our SRC constitution.
Right. Okay. Okay. So I didn't let the mover in there talk about it.
All motions shall only rise for discussion after the mover and seconder has been given the opportunity to justify such motion. They just want a motion, no justification, and we are voting.
Okay, so His Excellency Adom, His Excellency, I think that was a mistake on my part, so I'll rectify that. So it doesn't hold. It doesn't hold. So Honorable Fadil, kindly speak to your motion in a minute or two. In a minute or two.
Make their submission after the parliamentarians are done. This I also want to talk.
I know, but there's a motion, so after that, I'll ask them. Kindly continue.
Hello. I think we have so many things. I think we have so many things. So many issues about
Hello.
all of our time, or most of our time, on this the components of just one of them. So if you just submit it, whether the house wants to vote or not, then we know the real vote. Then we going back and forth, this is saying this. I think we've done the deliberations now. So the house has been informed now. So we can proceed, we can take a decision whether we want to vote. Then you all you vote for it, then we set up a new. If you don't want to vote, you don't want to set a new AC at the house. Then we don't set it, then we proceed with the other agenda on the list.
Okay.
All
right. Thank you very much. So, honorable members, the mover of the motion has spoken. Do you have any submissions? Honorable Tansen.
In one of our passes, the Speaker of Parliament acknowledged that it's not only with respect to time, but we need to understand and take into consideration every critical matter when it comes to matters. So I know everybody has what he wants to go and do in time and everything, but we must understand what we are doing. That is why we are still moving for the motion that the document, because there are a lot of ifs. If it is this, if it is the SRC, no, let's bring the document. Let's ask the EC. Maybe today when we go on recess, you can bring it. Let's see who has received. Let's see where the proceedings are pointing to. Then we can just vote for the EC to push. Thank you.
We don't have a soft copy. Okay, so you cover session. Okay, His Excellency Sam.
I think the text of getting the document is irrelevant. The document that we are talking about will contain according to So the document that we are looking for is irrelevant to the extent that here we want information about what to do or information about the case. The Chief Justice has said that. Okay, so it is an injunction on the declaration of result. That is all.
Johnson.
It's on the declaration of result. It's not on re-electing an EC, or it's not about the EC. Just the declaration of result. So if there is maybe a spinner or something, they just call him and he goes to that. Because the repercussions of the decision we are taking now and the delay that we are doing is that we wouldn't be able to meet the deadline for the next presidential election. We were supposed to do this last few meetings. You see, and we are delaying the thing. So please, let us just do, yes, if you want the EC, finish, then we just move on.
His Excellency Hagan.
I just want to make a little comment. I think in the first place, I understand the University of Louisbourg doesn't even answer to the Vice Chancellor, let alone to the people answering to us for you to be demanding for documents. So I want to be, I know probably with we thinking we are Parliament and all, we want to get those documents. So I just want to be, I think Honorable Sam just made a profound statement, and I heard a whisper that it's still relevant. That is, the halt is with regards to the rerun of the election, the declaration, right? I want to be these documents that we are asking. Even if it's a soft copy, you shouldn't be shared one academic degree. Number two, I want to be, if it's a hard copy, it shouldn't be distributed to us. If it's going to be distributed, all things should be away. Number three, I would prefer that if these documents are available, we have our Chief Justice. We have our doubting Thomases among us. They can come and look at the documents. We have our Honorable Jim here, and I think she's so excited to take it. She can also look at the document and read out that portion to us. We want to know. So I'm hoping that this doesn't tell us that those documents are not available today. I think the House will be treated fairly, which I didn't want to talk about this, but the House in the way has been supported. We are coming to a house and I come to produce what's the name? A report, and you come and do freestyle. Like, what do you think? I'm sorry, but this is serious business and it's parliamentary sentence. Whatever I say, take it as business. After when I see you, I'll say hello to you. When you come to a honorable house like this, and we don't really have any presentation. We came with our guidance, and they say, you come and just do freestyle and speak English on us. Let's make things right. So I'm making you, those documents, I know there's a soft copy. I didn't want to say this. I know there's a soft copy. And I'm pretty sure our Chief Justice will be happy. If the EC is telling us that right now he doesn't have a soft copy, I'm sure we can tell our Chief Justice to put the soft copy out and then we see it and we move from there.
Okay. Johnson. Chief Justice. So maybe you should read it. This will read it.
In view of the above,
Off record.
yeah, off record.
in your view, do you think this parliament, this house, should go on and appoint a new EC? If yes, then we shouldn't waste time. Let's start the process. Thank you.
Observers would like to make a few submissions. So, Mr. Nelson first. Mr. Nelson.
Alright, my name is Nelson Paramount. So, I've taken my time to go through, to study some of the contributions you have been making. But there are some few questions I want to ask the CJ and the EC. You said in your statement earlier that the appeals board has a higher jurisdiction to the SRC's court. So if there is any issue pertaining SRC, which has left the SRC's court first to the appeals board, meaning we depend on their decisions to take any further actions pertaining such activities. We read a verdict that an electoral process, which was declaration of results, was withheld. The state of execution was granted on it. Now we are here trying to deliberate if to commence another electoral process. Don't forget, the first, even the one that has been granted, is also an electoral process. There are two things, there will be severe implications to the SRC if we may go ahead. That is my suggestion. The issue is the appeals board has the highest decision making body for us as well, and the SRC. So if there's a case pending there, I suggest that the CJ, with your right to
The appeals board. Please rephrase your sentence.
I said the appeals board now has the verdict. I get it. That would affect our decisions as the SRC today. So if it's wise for us, and we don't want to incur any further arguments or any.
Please rephrase that statement again.
Which of them?
This is wise.
Okay, if it will be good.
And apologize.
I am sorry to the house. If it will be good for the CJ and the whole SRC, let's seek the appeals board contributions on this, because people could even take the SRC on for this situation again. Because if we go ahead to organize the election, people will still sue us or sue the SRC that, oh, there is a case which has not been given a permanent verdict, but you have gone ahead to run election in the same issue. This is an electoral process, the declaration of the result. Thank you.
Okay, so before the CJ addresses it, legal one. Other way, Gary.
The chair of the house. I like the point of correction. The CJ as well. It's on the declaration of the particular.
These two, the Speaker of the House. Let's be a bit careful. The CJ read the injunction. I want to ask a question. Is the injunction only saying as approval or there's a suit against the Electoral Commission? Is the injunction only saying that? Because you read one, you read the injunction. How about the suit? That's very good.
So the document that we have now was the verdict on the application for stay of execution on the electoral process that was on 7th February. Then those documents about the seat and everything is getting provided. But what we are discussing here right now is whether or not the electoral process can go even after we have in the stay of execution on the current on that electoral process.
So I know that there was a seat, and based on that seat, we left one injunction on the declaration of the results. And that same seat stop us from getting a new piece. That's the question to be asked. That seat left with the seal of the
So we will clarify the next and observe Mr. Sunny Games.
I'd like to clarify some points made up by the CG. So with regards to the state of execution, an execution is an order that's carried out by the consent. When a the court says you should do something, okay, you do it. That's an execution. Okay. So the execution that was stayed by the court was from the SRC appeals court. And the decision from that court was, and I read, in absence of any evidence to suggest that Mr. Stanley Days was involved in any wrongdoing with the EC, the Electoral Commission, that was intended to give him an undue advantage over his competitors. The board is unable to grant the request to disqualify Mr. Rudolph Stanley Days. The board, based on the 300, prevent the Electoral Commission from executing that order. Now, when was this stay of execution submitted? It was submitted when election has already started. And elections have been conducted. The Electoral Commissioner has 72 hours to declare the final results, which will lead to the swearing in of the president-elect. Now the EC was served the stay of execution. Okay, you are served a copy of the stay of execution. Now when you are in court, when you are doing something and the court you are being served, you have to stop whatever you are doing because you've been served. As at that time, the verdict of the stay of execution was not out. Elections were conducted around February. However, the verdict of the stay of execution came in. Yes, I'm
straight to your question on the clarification.
Yes, on the clarification. So when we read the CTA, the stay of execution is for the entire rerun of the election, not just the declaration of results. Now, when the stay of execution is given, two questions are asked. When we don't grant the stay of execution, will it affect what is the result? Yes or no? If it affects it, who is more likely to lose? Those are the questions that were in the verdict of the stay of execution. Those questions were asked. Now, as at the time where that execution stayed, the only last thing left for the PC to do was to declare the results. That was why the stay of execution was centered around the declaration of results. But the context of it was that per the petitioners who requested for the stay of execution were that they should stay the remand of the entire elections until they are done in court.
Okay, so that's what you want to find.
Yes.
Okay, so you are just
so the electoral process is incomplete.
Please, are you asking for a clarification or you are trying to explain?
Clarify.
Has he made his point? Can you answer him point?
I think I get your point. So this is it's very simple and it actually makes it very clear. So the stay of execution was on the case case that there shouldn't be a rerun of election.
Yes.
So a rerun of an election, a rerun of a particular election is different from the conducting of a newer election which is due. So we would only be in contempt of that stay of execution when we decide to run an election with you and all those 5 other candidates again. But if we decide to open a newer election and a newer electoral process for a newer academic year, we are not in contempt of that stay of execution. You get it? So the stay of execution is on the rerun of that election within that academic year. And that's not what we are attaching. What we are attaching now is what is on the Constitution, the setting up of a newer issue to run a newer election for a newer academic year. We get it?
Now, I will clarify that. Now, in building up on what you said, the issue now is if new EC can be elected. Now, the person in court is not the EC. It's the entire commission on all the documents. But however, whenever we go to court, okay, because the chairman of the commission is the election commissioner, his name is sent. But it's the commission that's being sent to court, not the EC chair.
Okay.
Okay. So would it be prudent that a new GC is elected or appointed by Parliament as it is now, and a new EC will continue the case? Wouldn't that affect the outcome of the case? Since the new EC will not know the entire story.
Okay, so Mr. Sunny Days, I think this particular question has been answered severally by the Chief Justice. So I'd like him to reiterate it once and for all. Please, no honorable member or no observer should ask this same question again. He has been answering this same question, so please continue. Answer the question.
If the office is sued, the office is an entity and it's a body. So when you sue a corporation, I'm making it simple. When you sue a corporation, that doesn't mean that you can't change the manager of that corporation or you can't change the CEO of that corporation. If that analogy is true in law, then it means that you can change the EC and elect a newer EC because it's the body or the EC that is sued. And so when we need anything from him, we can refer to him and then we get that. But secondly, we think these things are documented because when you go to the approval, whatever things that happen there, I think that are documented and given to the parties involved. That is, if we could provide that to the corporation, the office in the sense, that's in the EC, then we don't see how we can change the head of the EC or we can't change the EC when it's in view. You will get it. Because whatever happens, and then this case takes about 5 to 10 years. You can't say he should still remain the head of the EC when he has graduated. So it will get to a point where we are actually going to change the EC. But that doesn't nullify the suit against the Electoral Commission as an office under the SRC. Do you get it?
So thank you very much. Are there any more submissions on the motion for or against? So we will so honorable members, the motion before us to subject order 7, that is the setting up of the Electoral Commission to setting up of the Electoral Commission, should it hold? All in favor say aye. Aye. All against say nay. Okay, so the motion is to vote to set up a new EC, and it has been agreed upon that we are setting up a new EC. Before we move on to with that, we have in our midst our Dean of Students, Dr. Anaman. So,
very interesting. Good afternoon to you all. And I apologize for coming in late. Thank you, Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to address the honorable members.
Yes.
Yes, it's been very interesting sitting here listening. And this is the parliament. This is the first parliament I've seen with the president in the parliament. But it's working for you. I'm not questioning the constitution of the parliament. But then I will just make a snappy comment on the issue that I've listened to so far. I'm not making a decision, it's just my comment. And I think I'll go with the last verse of the CD. That indeed, what happened at the court is against this, not the commission. And in any human institution, we don't handle what means you are building a system around an individual. So if that individual is taken out of the institution, everything comes to a standstill. It doesn't work like that. Like for instance, if our DCs, then nothing happens. And a new person just comes and build his or her own system. But that's the way it doesn't work like that. That's why we have handing over ceremony or notes or whatever that happens. So it's an institution. And if the commission that is you have to clarify whether it's a commission or a commission. And let that define your way forward for you. But in as much as that is defining your way for you, in making your decision, you are under a higher jurisdiction or whatever the appeals court. whatever happens there matter to you as well. With that said, I'll ask, when was the last time you heard from the appeals court regarding this issue? My other question is that, is the appeals court, the university's appeals court, aware that your election is coming up? Because whatever it is that you send to the court, what else on your election things you are discussing now. So my suggestion is just in order for you, what was the last time you heard from them? It is important, consider that if it falls within your operation, I don't know, for you to write to them or petition them know that your the regime is coming to an end for this, and they not make the decision, is putting you in this position, and let that also define your way of action. More important for me is that sometimes you get to where you are because you didn't lay the foundation or the groundwork very well. So in as much as you are finding your way through this issue, find time and take a step back and look at how you laid your foundation. In other words, go back to your constitution and strengthen that. And if you are able to do that, it will clearly define your pathway when you find yourself in circumstances like this. So that it will be clear. And there will be only few gray areas that you need to deliberate on. That is very, very important. You can go back, look at your constitution, strengthen what you have to strengthen, avoid putting too much power in one individual's hand. In other words, an individual making a decision. It's much, much easier if an office is making a decision. So for me, that is what I would say. Mine is not to make a decision for you. And I hope this set is right for you to continue with your discussion. But it's been quite interesting. I never know is that serious business until I sat here for the past few minutes. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, so thank you very much, Dean of Students, for that message. So we voted that a motion holds, and now we would also vote on the topic of the motion if we are setting up the Electoral Commission based on what has transpired here. If we still want to go ahead and set it up, we will vote on that. So we voted on a motion moved by Honorable Fadil and seconded by Honorable Enam. And as the motion holds, are we to proceed to set up a new Electoral Commission or not? So as the motion holds, honorable members, we are voting on this. All in favor should say aye. Aye. All against should say nay. Okay, so the ayes have it. We would be setting up a new EC, but then again, we will still be we'll still try and talk to the secretary to the appeals board about our upcoming elections and everything that will be going on this semester. Thank you.